Guys, this is what we are having for breakfast. We are going to have yam and fish sauce. I'm going to add egg on the sauce. Have you ever tried to make egg and fish sauce together? So I'm going to try it today, guys, with yam. So this is the yam that I will be using. I started by peeling up the yam. It's a little bit hard. I don't know the reason why the yam is hard. It's not supposed to be hard by this time because of it is the season. The yam is not yet dry. I don't know why this particular yam is very dry. So this is when I was just peeling up the yam. I started by peeling it up. I make sure that I peel it up properly. So after peeling it up, I have to pack it in a plastic bag and put it in a bin. So I came back and washed up my hand and clean up the sink because there's a little bit sound there. So I don't want the sound to add up with my yam. So by then I have to wash up the yam and make sure that I wash it properly. This when I was just washing. When I noticed that when I was just washing the yam, I noticed there's a little bit something that I need to peel off from there. So I have to pick up my knife immediately and start peeling off the stuff. After that, I have to wash it up again properly. So then I was like, okay, it is time for me to put it in the pot. I have to pour in the yam in the pot because I'm going to be boiling it. So after that, I added some little bit of water in there so that it will be able to done properly, and also added some salt and cover it and take it straight to the gas. I put on the gas. I came back. I was like, okay, this is the veggies that I'm going to use to prepare the sauce. I need to start by washing up the veggies. I brought out my chopping board. I have to start by cutting up the veggies. After washing it, I started by cutting off one. I was trying to make it a little bit. I don't really want it to be tiny, so I just want the size like this. So that if I use this for salt, it will be able to come out well. So after that, I have to cut it. Make sure that I cut it one after the other. I was trying to mix it up together so that it will mix up properly. So after that, I have to keep the chopping board aside. I brought out my blender. Although I just want to blend the tomatoes. I don't really want to cut the tomatoes with the bell pepper together. I said, okay, let me just do this pattern. If it will be fine, so I have to clean up the tomato, wash it up properly. I added some garlic and blend it. I'm going to be blending it together. I was like, okay, let me just return the garlic in the fridge. I noticed that I have some fish in the fridge. I was like, okay, let me just add in the fish. This is the fish that I'll be using to prepare it. I brought out 3 fish. So I went straight to the sink. I put it in a bowl. I added a little bit of water so that the fish will defrost. When the fish was in the water, I went straight to start by blending the tomatoes, the fresh tomatoes that we're using to prepare it. When I was about to blend it, it wasn't blending well. I was like, okay, let me just shake it a little bit. If it will be able to blend. So after that, it started blending. I went ahead. I was like, okay, let me just cut up the fish that I'll be using. I went ahead to cut off the fish and also wash it. This when I was just washing up the fish, I made sure that I wash it up properly and remove some dirt inside. So immediately I finished washing it up, I was like, okay, I brought out my onion. After washing up the onion, I have to start by cutting in the onion inside the fish. So this is when I was just trying to cut it up because I don't really want the onion to be that big. So I have to use my hand to cut it off. After cutting it off, I added some thyme, seasoning powder, garlic, ginger, and also salt, and mix it up together. I added a little bit of water. I was like, okay, let me just use my hand to mix it up because I really want it to mix up properly. I went straight to put it on the gas. I went ahead to check if the yam is done. It happens to be yam is already done. I brought it out and remove the water from the yam. So it is time for me to peel off the plantain because I'll be frying this plantain separate. So I have to peel off the plantain and start by slicing up the plantain one after the other. This is the particular size that I want it So I have to slice. After slicing, I added a little bit of salt and mix it up properly. This is when I was just mixing it up. After mixing it up, I was like, okay, let me just brush out my frying pan that I'll be using to fry it. I added a little bit of oil in the frying pan and start by putting the plantain in the immediately the oil is hot. I added the plantain in the oil. So while the plantain was frying, I went ahead to start by making up the sauce. I added some vegetable oil and the onion. I pour in the blended tomatoes. So this plantain is now ready. I brought out the plantain and set it aside. So this is, I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and start by unboiling the fish. The fish is now ready. I have to start by, this is when I was just trying to remove the bone from the fish. After that, I set it aside. I brought out my egg. This is the egg that I'll be using. I was like, okay, how many egg did I need to use now? I was just contemplating. I don't really know how many egg I need to use. I was like, okay, let me just use the about 6 eggs. So I have to, after that, after put it in a, I have to whisk it. So this is the sauce that I'll be using. It looks as if it's stew, honestly. I added the veggies, the chopped veggies, and mix it up together. Added some seasoning powder, salt. Now it is time for us to add in the fish. I added in the fish and mix it up properly. This is the egg. Now the egg is the last thing that I added. So this is it, guys. You see how beautiful it is. It looked yummy. So that's it, guys. After that, I have to cover it a bit for a few minutes. I went ahead to start by washing up the plate so that everything will be clean. So I came back to check if the sauce is now ready. Our sauce is now ready. I said, okay, it is time for us to dish up our food. This is when I was just trying to dish the food one after. Thank you guys for watching. Can you like and also subscribe? See you in my next video. Bye.